Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Phyllis Barone, Michigan Golfer News. We're here at Great Oaks Country Club, and we just celebrated the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and we're here because there's some amateurs competing, right? And we are with Stephanie Jennings. I forgot to introduce you.
Yes.
She's one of our favorite people that we've talked to many times, and yes, and she is the coach at Eastern Michigan, right, for the golf girls, right?
Golf team, yeah.
And I should say yes, women's golf team, yes. And so anyway, we learned a lot tonight, Stephanie. And what did you walk away with from all the speeches and the wonderful speeches that we had tonight?
Man, just learning more history, I think, is the big thing, especially when Summer and Michelle got up to talk. And, you know, there's the women's struggle, and then there's the women of color struggle that, you know, I don't think we all know enough about, and it continues to this day that, you know, different things that we learn about, and not just within golf, but business and employment. And so I think those stories and how they came across and just, you know, expressed, you know, what has happened and what has happened to them individually, and the story of John Shippen. That really, you know, hits home and stuff. So just all of that history and things that we just need to be more aware of and make ourselves, you know, privy to, that it's not just the women's struggle. There's, you know, women of color struggle, women of, you know, international backgrounds or whatever, you know, a variety of backgrounds. So that we need to understand.
Well, you also, Stephanie, I mean, we pat you on the back because you're a female, but you are a member of the PGA, correct?
Correct.
And the LPGA. So that was kind of a big thing too, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, as you're a female in the golf industry, especially becoming a PGA golf professional, you're surrounded by men. And I, you know, talking to Debbie Williams, I said, I always want to give credit to the men that have been a part of my life. I mean, my dad, my brother, the bosses I've worked for, they've all been men primarily.
Sure.
But they've elevated me, and they've encouraged me to go farther with my golf career, my you know, PGA professional career. So it's a lot of times it is men that surround us that lift us up. And but where I am with the PGA, I kind of put myself out there and got involved and on the board, and looking forward to really making an impact.
Well, and obviously, you know, they've accepted you. You're, you know, considered.
I forced them to.
Yeah.
No. No.
That's something Shirley Spork would say.
Right. I love her. Oh my gosh. Oh.
And speaking of Shirley, they did highlight her a little bit, and you know, again, she was, you know, encouraged by men, right?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. I mean, her dad was so supportive. You know, she was around the boys growing up, and obviously they picked on her, but she kind of showed them, like, hey, I can do this too. And I was fortunate enough to go out to her service out in Palm Desert, and just learning about the people that she brought into her life, all the people she's impacted in her life, men, women, children, whoever, professionals, amateurs. She just left a huge legacy.
So they did have a service for her out, and you said that you were able to go. That must have been fascinating.
The person, I want to remember her name. Her last name is Barker. I want to say it's Nancy Barker, but I don't think it's Nancy. But she was essentially Shirley's adopted daughter. And she was the one who arranged the whole service. She was Catholic, and so they did a whole Catholic mass, and then a celebration of life. And this celebration of life had so much memorabilia, like articles from the 1940s when she played amateur, you know, college golf, all the way up to her coming to the Solheim Cup, and there's the different hats. She, you know, we always saw her with cool hats, and they had her hats on display, and so many cool things.
Oh my God, yeah, because I was wondering, I assumed that they were going to do a service, but I didn't know that they actually did one in Palm Springs then, right?
They did, yeah. It was back in May, like May 15th, I think it was, as they did one out there. So it was, obviously somber, but, you know, in good Shirley spirit, people celebrated, and we actually created a Shirley drink. They were out there. She loved Tito's, so FYI, she loved Tito's, so it was a Tito's affiliated spritzer drink, and everybody celebrated Shirley.
So were there a lot of obviously LPGA touring players there, or anybody from there?
Teaching and club professional player, but Amy Alcott was there. And that was special. And then there was a lot of people who submitted videos to celebrate Shirley and give their condolences, but just stories about their experience with Shirley. Yeah.
Oh, that was so. I mean, when I heard that she had passed, and then right before the Founders, right? It was right before
Founders. Yeah.
And then she got inducted.
Before her, it would have been her 95th birthday.
95th. And then she got inducted into the.
Before she passed, she was inducted into the LPGA Hall of Fame. So she got to witness and experience her being inducted into the LPGA Hall of Fame. Yeah.
We'll miss her because we've interviewed her with you several times. We were on the field with her, and so she's a legend, and right?
So much, and just in such a different way from some of the other founders because of her impact on the teaching of the game, and how, like they said, almost single-handedly started the teaching and coaching division of the LPGA. So her, at heart, she's always been a teacher.
Sure.
And just that part of her always came through whenever we saw her. I mean, we called her on the phone during our home tournament. I'm like, Shirley, do you have any words of wisdom for the team? And she's just, letting the girls know it all starts at the green and focus on your putting. Yeah. So, I mean, even those little moments will always live in my memory. So
she called me after I met her. She said, she left me a voicemail, and I did not delete it.
Seriously, no, I still have mine on my phone too. I'm not getting rid of it. Like, how do I archive this so I never lose it ever? Yeah.
Exactly, because she's just like, this is Shirley Spork, and I was like, ah.
And just learning about her, life, and when we were out in Palm Desert, I took the team out there one time. And so the whole team got to meet her, play golf at the clubs where she used to teach. And the one club, Tamarisk, she was a teaching professional there for a while. She taught Fred Astaire's wife. So it was and Groucho Marx, I think, was one of her students. So, I mean, just some neat stuff that you learn about what she experienced in her life, right?
Well, and, going back to what we talked about, women. Yeah. Okay, I think that she was not as published or publicized. No, I mean, people didn't know about Shirley, right? I mean, they knew her, but not like they should have, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to that point, I played at Eastern Michigan. In '96 was when I first, and I saw this Shirley Spork. It was a golf outing that they just put Shirley Spork's name on, and I'm just like, okay, who's Shirley Spork? I have no idea. And like you said, it's sad that it wasn't out there enough. It has, in the last 10 years or so, but it should have been out there more. But I'm glad now it is. And my goal is to make sure every player on my team learns about Shirley and knows about Shirley. She has her book, From Green to Tee. So everybody's going to get a book. From Green to Tee, and I may be the largest purchaser of all of her books. I don't know, we'll see. But I just think it's very important to understand that legacy that she leaves.
Absolutely. Well, when we walked away tonight, we learned that we just have to kind of keep raising our hands and asking questions, right?
Big time. Why are we doing this? Or even my players, Coach, why does the men's team do this? And, why don't we do this? And I'm like, hey, I agree. I said, I'm going to try and make that change and, have us go to big tournaments. Like the guys get to go to big tournaments and, just have an effect on everything. So, yeah, I welcome our players to ask those questions and for me to ask those questions to my boss, everything, because you got to have that conversation constantly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Stephanie Jennings, for being with us as usual, and we'll see you at the next event.
Yes.